Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7. We're at episode number 1699 and I am coming at you live from Times Square in New York City. And yeah, you can probably see it behind me if you're watching the episode here on YouTube or Facebook. If you're catching the audio version, that's probably why it sounds a little bit different. It's not in the controlled audio situation that we normally have for you. But hey, you know, I'm here in New York City. Thought we'd do one live right in Times Square for you. And this is the Resistance briefing episode. We're talking about The Disappeared. It is episode 18 from season 1 of Star Wars Resistance. You know, I'm dropping this on Wednesday when normally the Resistance briefing happens on Monday. So, you know, I probably don't have to bother with if you haven't watched the episode business yet. But, you know, just in case, if you haven't caught the episode and don't want it spoiled for you, then save this episode for a later date. Otherwise, let's just get into it. So here is the deal in 3 very brief nutshells. First of all, the First Order has basically officially ramped down its control of the Colossus platform. At first, it's just a polite, hey, why are these races still happening? I don't think the Aces should be racing, from Commander Pyre of the First Order, and Doza saying, nope, we gotta do this. It's popular, it's fun, the Aces need to fly around and protect the station, blah, blah, blah. But when Pyre actually shows up, it's a different story. He says, no, you gotta shut them down because it represents a danger, and not only that, but you've got untrained pilots, or at least untrained as far as the First Order is concerned, and they're flying around and it's endangering First Order pilots, and if you want the First Order's help, you gotta ground the Aces. And Doza has committed to the First Order, signed the agreement, I guess, and all that fun stuff, so the Aces are officially grounded. Naturally, Donald Faison, who plays High Faison, does not take too kindly to that, and he is subsequently arrested, but quietly, because nobody knows that he's been arrested. When they start asking after him, they find out that he's been given clearance to depart the station. At least that's the story the First Order is telling, while they're also trying to put up enlistment posters for the First Order in the local cantina that everybody frequents. And Aunt Z, who runs that watering hole, does not take too kindly to it. Suddenly, she disappears as well, and so she and Hype become part of the quote-unquote disappeared, to which the episode title refers. So your second nutshell item is that Kaz and Tora team up to try and find out what's going on and what's happening, and they ultimately figure out no, Hype had to have been kidnapped because his ship was in lockdown and actually scheduled to be scrapped, and he would never let that happen. He, you know, is going to keep that ship no matter what. So they have to go investigate, and Tora gets brought in on this whole thing as well because she doesn't think it sounds right that Hype just up and disappeared, and Hype is her friend. So they go find out that they've actually been put onto First Order transports to be taken away, and that's along with a few other people as well. People who are outright against the First Order are being arrested and quietly disappeared. Now, in the novel Cobalt Squadron that came out as part of the Last Jedi journey, the Journey to the Last Jedi publishing initiative, they actually witnessed people being dropped out of First Order transports, basically just being dumped to their deaths on some random planet out in the unknown regions, I believe it was. So they don't necessarily know where these prisoners are being taken to, but I imagine it's probably something really awful like that. And your third nugget of information that's worth knowing is that when the chips get a little bit complicated with this, Captain Doza goes to Jarek Yeager and is talking to him about this whole situation. So somehow Jarek and Doza have a deeper relationship than we have necessarily suspected. I mean, I know that they did consult with each other a while ago. Earlier on in the season, there was some situation where they were surprised that Yeager was having any kind of dialogue with Doza. I don't know if this is setting up some really crazy double cross, like we're going to find out that Jarek Yeager is actually the First Order spy on the platform after all, and he's been double crossing everyone. That would be really insane. But the fact of the matter is that Doza is the one who is able to tell everyone that the First Order has been arresting people, and he is actually known about it, it seems. Knows that they've been arresting people and taking them away, but doesn't know where, and hasn't been raising any concern about it. Maybe because the brave face that he's putting on about, I'm in control of this platform, really isn't the case. Like, he realizes that this thing is utterly and completely out of his control. And this episode also did something that they haven't yet done with other episodes really so far, And I'll tell you exactly what that is in just a moment. I will just ask you to, hey, if you're not subscribing to the show, then please consider doing so. And if you're not supporting the show on patreon.com/SW7X7, I hope you will consider doing so. Just, heck, I'm out in sub-freezing weather in Times Square to bring this episode to you. It's kind of just another symbol of the dedication that I'm putting out there to bring the show to you on a daily basis. And I hope you will consider it worth your while and a few dollars a month at patreon.com/SW7X7. I'm doing the show for free regardless, but if you feel like putting something in the tip jar, that would be really awesome of you. So the thing that they do that's rather unusual is that they end this on a cliffhanger. They actually have Kaz coming back to the Fireball shop to find that he is being arrested by the First Order, and they leave that on the cliffhanger, which is pretty different from what they usually do. So now we've got 4 episodes over 3 weeks to figure out how Kaz is going to get out of his arrest situation and how this First Order platform lockdown is really going to come about. Like the real lockdown, not the, it's kind of a lockdown, but it's not really a lockdown because it hasn't been officially announced and people are just getting quietly arrested. No, it's going to get worse from here before it gets better. So we're going to have to find out what's going to happen with that over the next couple of weeks, and we will do Resistance briefings for you all the way through it here on Star Wars 7x7. So that is going to do it for this episode of the show, and catch me tomorrow for episode 1700. It's going to be a Q&A session, and I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you so much for joining me for this show and every other show, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.